Hello there, welcome to the channel. Andrew's Collectibles here, doing another What We Found episode. And for today's What We Found, it is a 1996 Mattel toy named the Extreme Dinosaurs. So we've got Bullseye, Stegz, and Spike. And they are from a line, like I said, called the Extreme Dinosaurs. And the Extreme Dinosaurs is a toy line created by Mattel. And there was a TV show that these guys were a spin-off of called Street Sharks. Now you may remember Street Sharks a little better. Big Slamoo, all the big, huge sharks and whales that were like overly sized muscles and overly sized heads and little bodies. And they were super, super cool. They had plastic heads. You could kind of squish them a little bit. These guys were allies of the Street Sharks. They were 4 college students that turned into dinosaurs in order to fight the evil raptors. So these are the good guys. So even though they look kind of scary, getting a look at them with these big teeth and beady eyes, they are the good guys. So they fought against a group of raptors, and the main bad guy from the series, his name was, what was it, Argos something. It was Argor Zardock. That was what it was. So he was the main bad guy. He led a group called the Raptors. And the reason the Raptors, what they wanted to do, what their end game was, it wasn't to get gold or it wasn't to do whatever. They wanted to increase global temperatures. So they just should have like maybe teamed up with some corporations. I don't know. That would have been a good idea. But in order to create a more habitable environment for dinosaurs. The thing that doesn't really make sense to me thinking back on it, are these guys are dinosaurs now. They were college students, but now they're kind of like dinosaur-human hybrids. Wouldn't they like to have had hotter weather if they are going to be now dinosaurs? So they were fighting back against something that was kind of what they would need long-term. So not really a lot of foresight. Maybe that's because they're like big dumb dinosaurs or something. So there was 4 of them. Like I said, Bullseye, Stegz, Spike, they were led by a Tyrannosaurus Rex, one named T-Bone. Greatest name ever. So T-Bone was the leader. There was one more that they added in called Hard Rock, and they fought against the Raptors that were named Bad Rap, Hacks, and Spitter. And then there was some Cyber Raptors as well. Well, the series didn't last that long. This toy line didn't last that long, but I was lucky enough to pick up these 3 in a thrift bag for about $5.99 this weekend. So looking at the figures, taking a good look, looking at Spike, he's obviously got some child damage or dog damage to his horn. But that, you know what, that's going to be some battle damage. I'm going to touch that up with some paint, and you won't even know it. Obviously, it's disappointing. When I opened the figure, I was kind of sad, but you know what? I think it gives them some character. Now, looking at the articulation on these guys, there is very little. They're very heavy. Listen, they're a good, I don't know, probably 10 ounces a piece, if I had to guess. So looking at the figure, arms move, elbows move in and out. Hands don't move. Waist swivel. No leg movement at all. And they've got these big giant feet, which are needed because these are heavy heads, right? And they're going to fall over if you don't have a good base. So the base is important on these guys. But other than that, like his head doesn't move. I wish his jaw would move. It doesn't. So there's not a ton of articulation on Spike. On Stegz, the Stegosaurus, which is my favorite one of the group, because I like his coloring. He looks very good. He's got a very cartoonish face. If you played League of Legends, I feel like this, you could kind of almost make this into a Renekton figure very easily. But that being said, looking at him, he's got the spiked bracelets, hence the name Spike, and also the spikes here. His teeth are nice and white. His head doesn't move again. His arms move, but he doesn't have elbow swivel, but he has hand swivel. So so Spike doesn't have the ability to move his hands, only his elbows. And Stegz has the ability to move his hands and not his elbows. His feet don't move, but his waist does. And then looking at Bullseye, Bullseye came with wings and he dropped bombs, and all these figures had a bunch of accessories that go with them. There's too many to talk about, but Spike's were these big pterodactyl wings, and he could hook bombs onto the top of the claw. And so he was like an aerial bomber. He would fly over and drop bombs on people. So looking at his articulation, his arms move, but his elbows and wrists move. So they must have had like a maximum of 3 or 4 articulations they could do in each of these figures, because that's all that moves on him. But his head is more of a more pliable plastic. So you can see I can open his mouth up a little bit. That moves. His waist moves. His arms move. So those are the figures. Looking at them, I loved the concept. It reminded me a lot of the Dinosaurs Sega Genesis game. I can't remember it off the top of my head. I want to say it was like Soldiers of Fortune or something, and it had like a big dinosaur on it holding a gun. So if you know the name of that game that I'm thinking of, put it in the comments because it's driving me crazy and I can't remember it. But looking at these guys, super cool figures. I hope they make a comeback or something because that cartoon was pretty good. I have to look it up. And Street Sharks is definitely something that I think a lot more people would know about. But all in all, I'm going to try and see if I can't hold on to these guys and find the T-Bone figure to complete the foursome of heroes from that line. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments what you thought of these figures, if you ever had any, who your favorite was, and stay tuned because there's going to be a lot more great content coming onto the station. And I'm working with some new lighting in these videos. So let me know what you think of it if I'm getting a little bit more detail for the figures for you guys. Anyways, thanks so much for watching, and thanks again.